A common question that surrounds any Guild Wars activity is of course, what build or class should I play? Or what is the best build for X? As much as this is a totally understandable question, especially from a less experienced or new player's point of view, it is also a somewhat pointless one. Proficiency on a class is much more important than if you're on the best build. I could play any random druid build in the game and probably find a pretty decent amount of success. While at the same time, if you gave me the best Ellie build currently in game, I would get a sore jaw just from how much dick I suck. That all being said, today's video isn't as much about individual builds as it is about helping people find a build that actually matches their playstyle. A good example is the difference between builds that I play compared to builds that this idiot here plays. If we look at things Bear plays, it's Power Vert, Power Herald, Power Deadeye, just to name a few. We can see a pattern forming here. 1, they're all power builds, and 2, they're high damage, fairly squishy builds. Now if we look at what I play, it's anything druid related, Condi Reaper, Condi Hollow, and I used to play a lot of Scrapper before ArenaNet decided that Stealth Gyro had to become unplayable and dogshit, as well as Scrapper being better off being a walking nuclear bomb instead of more of a tanky bruiser-like spec. As you can see, I like playing bruisery builds, Condi builds, and classes that double as a utility support like Druid and Scrapper. On top of your own playstyle, it is of course worth noting that if you have a duo partner you roam with, your choice of build might change a little, from being fully self-sufficient to being able to help your teammate as well. For example, if Bear decides it's time to play Deadeye, I do not want to play Condi Reaper. My lack of mobility combined with his inability to hard commit from a position where people might consider targeting him, thus taking the heat off me, means I am in for a very bad time. Now, if I play Power Druid with his Deadeye, the dynamic changes. I can stay in the middle of fights for an extended period of time because of Druid's innate ability to sustain itself. I have access to just as much, if not more stealth uptime than he has, meaning if he has to leave, I will not be left behind, seeing I can just leave as well or continue turtling. On top of all of this, Druid has excellent peel in case he does end up getting caught and needs some help. I have CC, I have stealth, I have healing, and I have speed revives with my elite. What makes this even more appealing is Druid's ability to set up kills for teammates with never-ending CC chains in the form of dazes and immobilizes. Now, let's say he wants to play Power Vert. Does this mean I can play Condi Reaper and not have a really bad time? Yes, probably. Seeing as he's playing Spear, he has to actually commit in melee range in order to do a lot of his damage. On top of that, he has shield CC to help me out, as well as most importantly, he has mass invisibility. Let's take a look at one of my builds, just to get an idea of why certain choices were made, as well as what makes it good, and while we're at it, let's also look at what isn't good about it. When making builds, we're looking at synergies, things that work together very well. In my case, it's the bottom middle trait in marksmanship, Moment of Clarity. Interrupts give me opening strikes and dazes last longer. This leads to a few different things. Opening strikes have 100% crit chance because of Precise Strike. This means I do not really need any crit chance in my gear. Taking Moment of Clarity also means interrupts are more appealing for me, which is why we're taking Carnivore. To double down on this, both of my weapons have superior sigils of draining. Now I just need to include some interrupts. Storm Spirit, Glyph of Equality, Blood Moon, Lunar Impact, Predator's Ambush, and Call of the Wild. That's a lot of dazes. This also makes the build's weakness very obvious. If my opponent has stab, I will not heal, I won't be getting opening strikes. Due to my low crit chance, without opening strikes I will not do damage. Perma-stab Catalyst is pretty much an auto loss when I play this. As for my gear, my armor is Crusader and everything else is Dragon. My relic is currently Midnight King, but it can probably be changed for something else. Unseen Invasion is an amazing choice, seeing you have so much access to stealth. For Rune, I'm running Cavalier to get an extra 25% movement speed. I get most of my builds through looking at meta battle. I just go to the SPVP or World v World section, pick out something that seems like it would be interesting to try, and once I've taken a look at the build, I just change what I don't like and I'm good to go. Meta battle's Condi Reaper uses a lot of shouts. For SPVP, this makes sense, seeing you have teammates and a lot more terrain to work with. In World v World, I don't think they're nearly as good, which is why I swapped them out for something else. Mobility is name of the game in World v World, so I want some more of that. Condi Reaper also isn't known for its amazing range, apart from staff 2, 3, 4 and 5. so maybe Corrosive Poison Cloud might be nice. For my last utility slot, I have a couple of options. Suffer, Summon Fleshworm, Well of Darkness and Spectral Ring all look quite nice, so I'll just have to mess around with each one of those to see which one I like best. One thing to keep in mind though is that some utilities aren't good in some situations. Spectral Ring isn't good into Firebrand, Catalyst or Tempest because of the high stab uptime, while Suffer won't do me much good against power builds. I just have to pick whichever one looks best in most of the fights I get into. A lot of build and class related choices are based on personal preference. Take Paper Roll for example. He's another YouTuber who makes Gw2 content. He has a build guide where he goes over his shortbow staff Condi Druid and explains why he likes it and thinks it's good. I on the other hand strongly disagree with some of the build's choices. Staff for example offers nothing but defensives, and although they're very good defensives, the moment you swap to that weapon you lose pretty much all offensive pressure, giving your opponent time to recover. Sword Warhorn on the other hand is also a defensive weapon set. It gives you 2 leap finishers and a blast finisher for water and smoke fields. It gives you mobility, poison application, a daze and an evade. Is either of us wrong here? No. If he likes playing with his staff and that works for him, that's perfectly fine. I've tried it, it's just not for me. Some things though are just wrong and you shouldn't do them. Like playing Mechanist. It's kind of like you're playing Core NG, but with that one button that World of Warcraft is currently introducing that auto casts your entire DPS rotation. That's a fucking yikes, dude. If there's anything you should take away from this video, apart from the fact that you should not play Mechanist, is that you should not just blindly copy builds that someone else has made. Just look at the traits, think about why they took the traits they took, then look at the utilities, do the same thing, and then think about whether or not you'd like to make some changes. The Power Druid build I've been playing used to be played with Hammer, and although I still think Hammer is quite good, especially in outnumbered fights and against less experienced players, I've decided to swap to Sword Warhorn instead. It performs much better in 1v1s, makes it easier for me to survive while giving me vastly superior mobility, and with all the finishers, it makes my sustain much better as well. Don't forget that it's okay if a spec or class just doesn't quite do it for you. I just can't seem to find a good scrapper build that I click with, even though that used to be my main spec. Anyhow, as per usual, I'm still doing free World for World coaching for anyone who's interested. Anything from more in-depth stuff like replay reviews to starter things like key bindings, settings, and helping you find a build that you might like. Also, don't forget to take a look at Paper Roll's YouTube channel, as well as Homaged. He does mostly PvP content, but has a few World for World videos that are very solid and definitely worth the watch. Plus, a small shout out is the least I can do after making fun of his Bladesword.